Hey, what is up, you guys? This is Visual Guide here, and in today's Lightroom workflow, we're going to be turning this image into this image, so stay tuned. So first thing I want to do is I want to go over to my lens corrections and see if my profile corrections will do anything. I'm going to hit auto. Don't like the way that's looking, so I'm going to go over here. The distortion is looking good at 100. I don't want it to look too flat because then it gets kind of too zoomed out. I'm going to vignette my thing at 200 just to bring out some whites on the corners of the picture. Now I'm going to go over to my basic tab. I'm going to hit auto. It's looking a little bit too warm for my liking, to be honest. Let me see. What if I were to lower this just a little and then bring up some purple? Whoa, that's too much purple in my opinion. 5 is cool. Do that. Right. Exposure is looking good to me for right now. I'm not going to mess with it too much. Add some contrast, just add some punch to the picture, bring my highlights all the way down, bring my shadows all the way up, and then fill that in with some blacks. And then I actually think the shadows is a little bit too much, so I'm gonna lower it just a tad bit. I don't know what I want to do with my whites. I don't know if I want to leave them flat or I want to brighten it up. That's what I'm kind of confused on right now, to be honest. Thinking I'm gonna flatten it a little and then try to fix it with my tone curve a little bit later. I'll just add like a hint of clarity just cause, maybe add some vibrance into the picture. Saturation will make the picture look way kind of unnatural. I'll just add 1 of that. Vibrance is looking good, maybe even a little bit too much, so I'll lower that by 1 too. Going on to my tone curve, let me see if any of these presets will do anything for my picture. The strong contrast is a little bit too much for my liking in my opinion. Or actually, I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna try to bring out the darks with this. Bring that up, bring the shadows out. Alright, I'm liking the way it's looking. It kind of has some punch to the picture. And this is why I like the tone curve so much. It helps define certain things in the picture. So you guys saw my basic panel, my whites wasn't really doing too much, but in this it has a way stronger effect because if I were to reset this, it makes everything way wider. So I like it around 45. It kind of creates this nice flat image. My highlights, I brought them out a little bit just to add a little bit of contrast to the top of the picture. I'm thinking leave it at 35, and that's actually looking pretty good to me so far. That's the before, this is the after. I'm not really too worried about kind of harshness on the sides right now. It's looking a little bit too bright, but I'll be able to fix that a little bit later. So what I'm trying to create right now is this nice kind of yellow effect over the picture, and what I've done is I've made this all kind of to the more yellow side. If you see, if I were to reset this, kind of makes it more green, and if I were to do the same thing with this, makes it more green. I like the way it's kind of looking more like an autumn day, less orange and more kind of yellow. I don't think my blues are going to do too much to the picture because there wasn't really too much detail in the sky this day. Yeah, like I suspected, it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come over here, probably gonna add just a little bit of red saturation. I'm gonna see how the oranges do to it. I'll add just another hint of orange. It's actually even a little bit too much, to be honest. I just don't want it to be too orange or too yellow, because then it'll just kind of look a little bit ugly in my opinion. Put this up to 11. I want the greens to be really like vibrant and out there. I like the way the blue comes out right there on the top. That's actually really nice. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna head over to my luminance and see what this will do to my picture. And what I'm doing with the luminance is I'm bringing up all these colors so it's not as dull. If you see I remove this, it looks way different already. I like the way it's looking so far. Bring down the blues just because it might bring back some detail in the sky. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a gradient filter just because I like the way the sky looks, but I just don't want the effect to be too overpowering when I edit. So the tops of the trees are going to be somewhat edited, but I think it's going to end up actually looking nice and it's going to be the effect that I want. So I'm going to lower the exposure. I can also make it purple if I want to go all crazy and like indigo on it. Add some contrast. And actually I'm gonna bring out the shadows because look at what that does to the picture. It brings out the tips of the tops of the trees, which is really nice. I'm gonna drag it down just even a little bit more, just kind of create more of an effect. This exposure is a little bit too much, to be honest. So I'm gonna bring that back up, and then I'm just gonna lower the highlights and see what that will do to the picture. I actually like this on 40 for whatever reason, or I like weird increments. I'll do 42. And then I'm gonna add clarity to the sky, added saturation. I don't know if the tint, if I want to do anything with it. And I think that's looking good. So if you guys want to see what the gradient filter actually did to my photo, if I were to delete it, you see that it kind of looks more greenish up here. It kind of adds this nice little layer of color to the photo, which I think looks really cool. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring out some of the detail in the trees. I'm going to zoom in 2 by 1. That's always what I like to use when I'm sharpening. And then my baseline is always just around 70. I'm going to do that. Add some detail to this. 2.2 is looking good. Maybe like a 1.7. If you guys don't know what the sharpening does, or the radius, it basically means that the higher this number is, if I had it on 3, that means the whole picture is sharp. And if I put it on like a lower increment, that means only certain little things in the picture. That means it's less things will have the effect, basically. I think 1.7 is looking good for me right now for what I'm trying to do. Now I'm gonna head back to my split toning and see what I can add. I might be able to add some nice color in the sky with this. 85. I like 75. You gotta remember that number. As you're scrolling through, you want to take like little cues, or you want to remember some of the numbers that you're scrolling through. Now this picture didn't really need too much coloring, or the coloring wasn't really what I wanted, so I just added very slight different colors to it. So I made the balance -48 to bring out some of the blues and the cement, which I think will help. Last thing I want to do is I want to head over to my camera calibration, or actually before I do that, I want to see if a vignette would even do anything to this photo, or for this photo. Do something like that. Let's feather it, and then I actually like the vignette. It kind of helps draw in a little bit. It's just a little bit of a darkness, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Camera calibration, I'm gonna see if this will do anything for my photo. Whoa. Yep. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with the tint too much. I'm gonna mess with the reds and all the other colors that are on this to see what kind of effect I can get on my picture. I'm just gonna add a little bit of purple to this picture, but a lot of the tones I don't really need to mess with, just because most of the colors in this picture are just green. That's it. It's just because I shot it in the middle of a forest. Now looking at it before and after so far, you can see that it just kind of looks like it has more detail. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a radial filter to the middle, and I'm gonna hope that that might draw some people's attention to the middle of the picture. I want it to be a pretty big radial filter. Something like that. Add a little bit of temperature to it. Add some contrast to it as well. Maybe if I add some highlights. I think, let me see, if I were to delete this, I'm not sure if I like the effect or not. I think I do. Maybe I'm gonna just lower the warmth just a tad bit, just because I don't want it to be too noticeable. That's one thing you always want to do, or remember when you're doing radial filters. You don't want stuff to be too noticeable. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add a gradient filter like this. And then what I'm gonna do, what if I bring down the shadows? I'm gonna lower it just a tad bit. What if I bring down the exposure one too? I think that's actually cool. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the exact same thing on this side. And I think that's looking good. So if looking at the before and the after, it's looking way more vibrant and way more beautiful. Let me see if I do before, after. And I did kind of lose some of the green tones, but I did say earlier I kind of wanted it to be more of a yellow effect. I might, let me go mess with some more of these colors actually. I might want to mess with the green a little bit more, just because like I actually like the way the green was looking before. What was it on? -38? I gotta remember that just in case I change my mind. And no, it's actually, I think it's fine. What if I lower it even more? No, I'll just leave it at what it was. 39 is cool with me. And here, like I said, here's the before, here's the after. This is kind of more my style. I do kind of like how these greens are, but unfortunately I wasn't really able to emulate that how I wanted. But this is still a usable image, and I'm going to be posting this on my Instagram. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this workflow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.